Okay, so today we're going to be talking about how to double your money with passive income. And this is something that I feel like is very timely to be talking about. So many people were really excited for me to talk about this. So I'm hopeful that it's going to be helpful to you guys. And before we get started, I just want to remind everybody to, close out any other tabs you have open, put your phone on silent, and let's just make sure that we're focusing on everything that we're talking about today. And if you have questions, on your screen towards the bottom, there should be a little ask a question box. So yeah, you can just submit questions there and I'll try to get to them at the end. We'll see how much time we have, but yeah, I'll try to answer questions after the presentation's over. And I wanted to kind of start with giving you a little recap of how I've been creating passive income for myself over the past year. So back in, somebody said it's split between the video and the slideshow. I'll try to make the slideshow a little bit bigger. Okay, so back in November of 2018, that's whenever I really first started thinking about selling something. And I had this idea to sell presentation templates for designers because I kept getting questions on Instagram anytime that I would share like a behind the scenes of presentations that I was sending to clients. I'd always get designers messaging me asking to see more of it, asking what I put in my presentations. And even a few people were asking me if I would sell it as a template. So that's where I first got the idea to start selling something. And that's kind of where everything began. So then in January of 2019, that's when I started doing a group coaching program with Morgan Rapp. It's called Design Biz Mastery, and it's like a course format now, but I started working with her as a coach, and she really helped me start planning how to launch this new part of my business and have some passive income. So we worked on that for a bit, and then in late February 2019 was whenever I first launched my course. And I had 17 students sign up, which I was very, very excited about. So the first launch went well, but of course it was my first time and I was still figuring a lot of stuff out. It was kind of an experiment to see what worked, what didn't. And I took some time after that to kind of rework stuff and improve everything. And then I relaunched the course in August of 2019. And for that launch, I had 52 students enroll, which was way over the goal that I had set for myself. So I was very proud of that. And then in November, I opened my template shop. So the idea that I'd originally had to just sell presentation templates, it turned into a course. And then at the end of the year, I went back and opened the template shop because I did want to have that cheaper alternative. The course was great, but I knew that it wasn't the best option for all of my audience. And I just wanted to have something cheaper to cater to everybody. So that's the general timeline of how I've been exploring passive income. And what are the results that I saw? How did this impact my business? So this is a breakdown of my income for 2019. And you can see that 46% of it was client work, and that's mostly client work and a little bit of affiliate sales. I did a couple of summits and stuff where I was like helping people promote things, and just a little bit of that was affiliate sales, but mostly 46% was client work. Then 37% was my course, and then 17% was my template shop. So you can see that the course and the shop made up over 50% of my income for the year. So that's quite a bit. obviously. And ultimately, with just 3 launches spread out throughout the year, one in the beginning of the year, one in the summer, one at the end of the year, just with all of that, I was able to double my income from whenever I was just working with clients. So it was a huge, huge impact for my business. And the craziest thing is that I nearly hit $100,000 for the year with my income, which is something that I never ever thought that I would do. But that's just how much passive income added to my business. And all of this to say that passive income works. It really works if you're willing to, do it well and be smart about it. It can make an amazing difference for your business. And the ugly truth that I learned from all of this is that it is really difficult to scale your business if you're only working or just doing like a service project by project type of offering. Sorry. And the problem with working with clients is that you can only work with so many at once. There is a limit to how much work you can take on with that type of work. Unless you want to build a team and hire a bunch of people to help you or outsource everything, there's just going to be a limit to how much you can take on. But on the flip side of that, with passive income and selling products or courses, those can be limitless. And the goal is that you work really hard once to create the product or the course. And then after you've launched it, it can sell itself again and again and again. So, compared to client work where I would get a client, work really hard on their project, launch it, and then I get another client, work really hard again, launch it. It's kind of like client work feels like you're just running in circles a little bit, but passive income is you work really hard first, and then it just keeps growing and growing without you having to do as much to maintain it, if that makes sense. So let's get into some of the biggest questions that people have about creating passive income. And really quick, I just wanted to make sure. Okay. I wanted to make sure that there weren't any problems with how people were viewing the slides. All right. Question number 1 is, I want to create passive income, but where do I start? How do I figure out what to sell? Of course, this is, one of the main things that people struggle with. And my answer is that there is likely something that you are already doing for your business right now that you can easily teach or sell to others without having to do that much work. So a couple questions that I would ask myself is, what are you getting questions about, either from other people in your industry or from your clients? What are common things that people are asking you about all the time? Like I said, I only decided to sell presentation templates because I was getting questions about them on my Instagram all the time. Another question is, what's something that you've had to learn or streamline within your own business? That's something that you can easily turn into a product or a course. And kind of the overall idea is that if it's something that has helped you, it's going to help others, and it's something that you can sell. And a tip is that whatever you decide to sell, you just need to make sure that it's solving a problem or meeting a need of some kind. So like I said, maybe there's something that you've struggled with in your own business and you've had to learn how to overcome it, or you've created something to help make it easier for you. And chances are, if you have struggled with it, other people in your industry or the people that you're already serving as clients or something are struggling with the same thing too. And they're going to be eager to pay for a solution. So the key to making something sellable is that it has to solve a problem that your audience is having. And if it's going to solve a problem for them, they're going to want to buy it. So I wanted to give you just some ideas of types of products and offerings that you can sell, because there are lots of different options that maybe you wouldn't think of. So first is an online course, and that's where you go really in depth on a specific topic and you teach people, a new skill or how to be better at something. Usually this is like the biggest type of offering that you can do for passive income. Next, you could do a digital product shop. And this is sort of like a mini option compared to a course where, they're usually smaller things like templates or ebooks. Just usually smaller things that are more affordable and, are just a little bit smaller, I guess. That's what I'm trying to say. Then you could do a paid membership. So this could be like a course, or it could also be a shop, or even just a private Facebook group, but it's a place where people pay monthly or quarterly or yearly. They pay a membership fee and they get constant access to whatever it is you're offering. And usually it's going to be something that you are consistently updating. For example, I pay a membership to Moyo Studio. You guys might know what that is, but they create stock photography and mock-ups, Photoshop mock-ups that are really beautiful. So I pay a membership fee to them and I get access to everything that they create, and they're constantly adding more mock-ups, more photos. So that's just an example of something that you could do. And then the last one, which is sort of the quick money scheme of all of these, is doing a paid workshop. So this takes probably the least amount of effort, but you can do like a 1 to 3 hour mini course or webinar, kind of like this, that people pay for. And you can either do it live or you could do it pre-recorded, where you just teach on a very specific topic, almost like, something that you would put into a course, maybe just one module of a course, one lesson, turn it into a mini workshop. So next question. Someone else is already offering something similar. So why would I even bother trying to sell it? I also got a lot of people talking about this, the imposter syndrome. We all have it, right? And my answer is there is room for all of us to share our skills and knowledge. Just because somebody else is doing something similar to what you want to do, and this applies to everything, not just selling stuff, that doesn't mean that your offering isn't going to be valuable to someone. If you can help just one person, it is totally worth it to put your thing out there into the world. And I think sometimes we forget, we get kind of trapped in this mindset of, this is my thing that I'm making money off of. But at the end of the day, we're putting this out there to help other people. And if you kind of switch your perspective there a little bit, like if you have something that could help someone else, of course, you should put it out there in the chance that it's going to help someone, even just one person. That's kind of how I like to think about it. Next question is, how do I get people excited about my offering? So, in my opinion, the best way to build hype and trust with your audience is to give them something free first. And I got quite a few questions about freebies. So I wanted to really give my 2 cents about them. So before people pay for your product, they want to know that they're getting their money's worth. That's totally understandable. So the best way to gain their trust is to offer some kind of freebie that either gives them a preview of what the paid product is going to be like, or it just shows your expertise and that you have something valuable to share with them. So a few ideas for freebies. You could do a downloadable worksheet or an ebook, something that's just like a really simple PDF that teaches your audience something useful, and is going to, get them on your radar, add them to your newsletter, and just help them see some of what you have to offer, so that whenever you start offering something that they have to pay for, they'll be more likely to jump on it. And then the other idea is do a webinar like this. Or you could just do an Instagram live or something, just something that you can put out there where people can watch it. And you can either do it live or you can do it pre-recorded so that people can watch it any time. That's something I'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, just something to share your knowledge, share your expertise, give them a little taste of what you had to offer, and it's going to make them so much more likely to trust you. And I put bonus points if you do both of these things. So I have a couple of freebies on my shop that people can download. They're just like really short PDF things. And then I also do webinars, try to do them as often as I can. And a pro tip about freebies, they are just in general a great way to build up your audience on autopilot. So even if you aren't launching something soon, it's always a good idea to have a freebie available on your site somewhere, because this way you can have a constant stream of new people being added to your email list without you having to do anything. So like I said, I have a couple of freebies in my shop, and I'm always getting emails to show that somebody grabbed it, every week or so. People just keep finding them. And it's just a nice thing that I constantly have people finding it, getting added to my email list. And then whenever I do launch a new course or something, then I can instantly send something to them and let them know that, hey, I have something that you can pay for now. So next question is, how do I price my offering? And of course, this is a tough question to answer because everybody is different. I can't give you an exact number, unfortunately, but I can try to help you feel your way through it, I guess. So first off, doing some market research helps, but at the end of the day, it's up to you to decide what price feels fair. So, look at what other people are charging. If there's someone out there who's offering something very similar to what you want to offer, look at what they charge. Keep that in mind. You don't have to get really attached to it, like I have to charge less than them or anything like that, but just keep it in mind. And you can also survey your audience to see how much they would expect to pay. You can do a poll on Instagram to see how much they would want to pay for templates or something like that. Whenever I was launching my course for the first time, I actually sent a sample of it. I sent like one lesson from the course to a couple of designers and just asked them how much they thought it was worth. I gave them a couple of ideas of what I was going to price it at and just let them vote on what they thought was the right price. So that was really helpful for me to, test my target audience and get their opinions. But like I said, ultimately, it's up to you to price yourself fairly. And you're going to know in your gut if you're, pricing it too low, if you're going to feel like you're not getting what's fair. So just, go with your gut. That's always what I tell people at the end of the day. And a tip about pricing, if your offering is a little bit bigger, like say a course or, an ebook that's really in depth, something that is going to be over $200, you should probably have a few different payment options, and that's going to make it more affordable for people. So some types of payment options that you can have. First, you can have a pay in full option, and this is when the customer pays for everything up front. And this is the option that you want most people to take, of course. So in order to encourage more people to pay everything up front, you can offer a bonus for those people. You can add in an extra product, add in an extra lesson, add in something that they're really going to enjoy and think is worth it. And that's going to encourage more people to pay everything up front. Then the other option is to do a payment plan. So depending on how expensive your product or your offering is, you can split up the cost in however many payments you want. Depending on what kind of platform you're using to sell it, you can make the payments due, monthly or something like that. But a thing to remember about this is you don't necessarily want payment plans to be the option that everyone takes, because when you do a payment plan, you always risk people changing their credit cards halfway through or something like that. And then you'll get a notification that their payment, didn't go through, and then you have to chase them down and make them update their information. It's a real mess that you don't want to have to deal with. So you want to make sure that although you are offering the payment plan, you're encouraging people to do pay in full instead. The payment plan is kind of like you only use it if you have to type of thing. So your payment plan, the total cost of your payment plan should be a little bit more expensive than the pay in full. Sort of like you're charging interest. If they choose to pay in payments, they should have to pay a little bit more. That's just kind of standard. So something to think about. And another tip about pricing, you can use your pricing to build hype and urgency around your launch. So talking about how to build excitement, how to get people really eager to buy your stuff, there are pricing strategies that you can use. And whenever you launch your offering, you want people to sign up right away. Even if you're just offering it for a limited amount of time, like maybe you're only opening the cart for a week, you still want people to feel a real sense of urgency to buy before they change their minds. That's really the thing that you need to think about. People might be interested at first and then change your mind. So you want there to be some kind of urgency. So a couple of pricing strategies that you can use to do this is, first, you can offer a special early bird price. And this is a great way to encourage people to buy right away. So you're going to offer a special discounted price either right before your product launches or during the first couple of days. And that's really going to encourage people to hop on it and commit and buy before it's too late. Everybody wants to get the discount, So the other one is to do a bonus for the first few customers, whatever number you want to use. But yeah, you can throw in something extra for the first couple of customers that you have. And that's just going to make it extra. I can't think of the word I want to use, but yeah, it's just going to make them extra excited to buy. And with my course, the last time I launched my course, I offered a bonus lesson for students who enrolled within the first hour of the course being open. And I had probably half of the people that signed up, maybe a little under half, did that because they were so excited to get that bonus. And another tip, just in case you're really unsure about your offering, and if people will buy it, you're just not totally sure if it's going to work, you can always try doing a pre-sale. This is kind of the last pricing strategy that you can use. So this is whenever you offer a really discounted price for your product or offering before you've even created it sometimes. I mean, you can have already created it if you want, but the cool way to use it is offer a presale before you've created it. And that kind of sounds crazy, but think of it like, when you're pre-ordering clothes or something, or, the new iPhone, they announce the new iPhone and everybody pre-orders it. It's kind of the same thing. So, yeah, it's just a great way to test the waters and just kind of see how many people are interested. So maybe you announce that you want to launch this new course and you're going to do a pre-sale that's really, really discounted from what you would actually like to sell it at. And yeah, you do a pre-sale and then you launch the course, 2 to 4 weeks later. And then all of those people get access to it. So that's just an idea of what you can do. And of course, if for some reason you announce a pre-sale and then very few people buy and you decide, never mind, I don't want to do this anymore, then, you just refund them. It's no big deal. But like I said, it's just an option of how you can test the waters and see if your idea is going to work out. Next question is, I'm overwhelmed by the logistics of setting everything up. What tools do I use? So I just wanted to share a couple of the tools that I have used or know about and would recommend. So for courses, there's Teachable, which is what I currently use to do my course. Other ones are Kajabi, Podia, and Skillshare. So these are all platforms that are made specifically for courses. So they have lots of capabilities with, adding in all of the course content, but also just kind of seeing stats, at least for Teachable. There's a lot of different things that you can look at on there, from seeing, how far along people are in your course. And there's just a lot. You can look into it. Then if you want to do an online shop, you can always do Shopify, which is kind of the go-to place for e-commerce online. And if you want a more cost-effective option, you can also do the Shopify buy button. I won't explain it in detail now, but you can look it up. It's just a more affordable way to use Shopify, but be able to integrate it into wherever your website is. If your website's on Squarespace or WordPress or wherever, it's a really cool thing that you can use. You can always sell on Squarespace as well, but I'm not a Squarespace girl, so I didn't want to recommend it since I don't know that much about it. Other ones are Thrivecart. That's what I currently use. And then also Creative Market. If you're selling like mock-ups or fonts or, something creative, Creative Market is also a great place to sell things. And some of these, platforms and apps are kind of expensive. And, they're very fancy. And of course, some of them are worth the money, but it doesn't have to be that way. It doesn't have to be expensive. You can find ways to set everything up without spending a ton of money. For example, you can send things to your customers via email, or you can just do everything in a private Facebook group. You can do a whole course through a Facebook group, or just have password protected pages on your website. There are lots of ways to get around it and not have to spend money. The most important thing is that you just need a way for people to pay you, honestly. You can find endless ways to get content to people. The problem is just having them pay you. That's what you really need to focus on and where you need to make sure things are set up well, I would say. All right, next question is, what if I don't have a big audience? Do I need one before I start selling? And I had a few people ask this specific question as well. So my answer is that you don't need a huge audience to make sales. And the thing that you have to remember is that the quality of your audience is better than the quantity of your audience. So just take me, for example. I made $9,000 for my first course launch, and I had around 5,000 followers on Instagram, which that might be a lot to some people, of course, but I didn't have the swipe up feature or anything like that. And I had 0 people on my email list. So I didn't send out any newsletters. I didn't pay for any ads or anything like that. So how did I get those sales? I just had loyal followers, I think was the key. I didn't have a ton of followers, but I had been engaging with them consistently. I shared a lot about my process on my Instagram. So they were already used to seeing that type of content from me. And then whenever I started sharing about my course, they were already interested and, trusted that what I was offering was good. So I just kind of shared about things on Instagram, and then I did a free webinar to kind of pitch what I was offering and explain what was going to be in the course. And that's all that I did. So yeah, like I said, you don't need 1 million followers. You just need loyal followers. And, like I said back at the beginning, I only had 17 people sign up. And, compared to some of the huge course giants who are having, hundreds of people sign up for their stuff, 17's it was a lot to me, but it's also not that many. And I'm assuming most of you have more than 17 followers if you're on social media. So yeah, just take it from me. You don't need to have a ton of followers. You just need loyal followers. That's what you need to focus on. Next question is, this all seems like too much work. Is it really worth it? And I totally understand because it is a lot of work, but I promise you it's 1,000% worth it. It is a lot of work to set up passive income, a lot of work. And honestly, the most difficult part of it is that while you are working on getting things set up, you're probably not going to be making any money from it. You won't make anything until it's actually launched, unless you do a pre-sale. But you might spend, a month working on everything before you actually see any sort of profit from it. And that's kind of tough mentally to deal with, especially if you're used to working with clients who are paying you, in milestones all throughout the project. It's just kind of tough to work for a while and not see any money in return. But what you have to remember is that you're creating something sustainable that can be sold again and again and again. And even though it's a lot of work in the beginning, it's not going to require that much maintenance once it's launched. And it can bring in income for years and years to come. So that's what makes all of this worth it. And just another tip, if you are really worried and nervous about all of this and you want to see results fast, you need to learn from experts. And yeah, that just kind of goes with anything in business. But if you really want to do passive income right, you need to get some expert advice. There are lots of people out there who have tried all the things and they know how to get results when it comes to selling stuff. So find those people, learn from them in any way that you can, read their blog posts, listen to their podcast episodes. Most of them are giving a ton of free advice. And if you listen to it, it's going to get you where you want to be a lot faster. So 2 people that I specifically love to follow and helped me a lot whenever I was planning my course. Like I said at the beginning, I was part of like a coaching mastermind group with Morgan Rapp. And obviously I got a lot of help from her, but some other people that I follow are Mariah Cause. She is like the queen of courses. That's what she really focuses on, is creating courses. And she shares a ton of awesome content on how to set up courses and specifically sell things on autopilot. So she actually has courses about how to create courses that you can check out. I am currently taking one of them. And then she also has a really great blog, tons of blog posts about, selling things, building your email list, all of that stuff. And then she also has a podcast. I think it's sort of old. I don't think she's been doing any recent episodes, but you can still go back through all of those episodes and listen to them. And then another person that I really like to follow is Amy Porterfield. She also focuses a lot on courses, but also just a lot of general business stuff and, selling things. So she has a podcast, and that's mainly what I listen to from her. So yeah, check her out because she has like over 200 episodes, maybe 300, I think. So there's a lot to go through. And I remember before I launched my course, I went back in her archives, like way, way back, and was listening to just everything that I could find. Okay, so now I'm going to wrap things up. Hopefully you're still with me, but I just want to give you some final thoughts before we go into answering questions. So first, and probably the most important thing that I want you to know is that sometimes launched is better than perfect. And this is something that I had to deal with because being a perfectionist and also I think being a creative, whenever I was first launching my course, I got really wrapped up in just thinking it needs to be perfect. It's not perfect yet. I have to fix this. I have to fix this. I need to add this. And, I kept pushing my launch date back further and further just because I was so nervous and wanted to keep working on it. And that's normal. But at some point, you've just got to put it out there. And you have to remember that you can and should refine things as you go. That's kind of the beauty of launching some kind of product that's going to be out there forever, is that you have all the time in the world to update it. And and I think that a lot of the things that you're going to find, like things that you find can be improved or things that need to be fixed, you're probably not even going to realize what those things are until you put it out there into the world. People start using it and come back to you and give you feedback and say, oh, this could have been a little bit better. So that's another reason why it's better to just launch it, put it out there, see what happens, and then you can improve things afterwards. Another thing is think about what's going to be easy to update in the future. And this is something that I'm currently doing because I'm in the middle of updating my course and getting ready to relaunch it. And I'm kind of going through all of my content because there's a lot of stuff in my course that includes videos of me walking through how I do things. And that's great, but if I ever make updates, that means that I need to record those videos all over again or re-edit them, and that can take a lot of time. So right now, as I'm trying to relaunch my course, I'm trying to go through all of my content and really figure out, what needs to be a video and what can just be written, or what can I change so that it's easier for me to update in the future. Just kind of trying to minimize the amount of time I have to spend if I make updates. So that's just something to keep in mind. And then another thing is you want to make sure, whatever you're offering, you want to make sure that it's easy for the customer to navigate and use. So the last thing that you want to do is get stuck doing customer service and answering emails with questions from people all day. So it's really important that you anticipate what questions your customers might have about your product and provide them with answers before they even need to ask. So maybe you have an instruction guide with some frequently asked questions or something like that. Or maybe your product is more complicated and you need to have some kind of tutorial video. For my course, I have a lot of videos in there, but for my template shop, my templates, I just have an instruction guide PDF that I give people. And so far that's been plenty. I included like screenshots. That was kind of my happy medium so that I wouldn't have to do a video every time I updated the templates. So yeah, find a solution that works, keep it simple, make sure it's easy for you to update. And yeah, it's just going to make things easier for your customer and in turn, make things a lot easier for you. So that's all. So now I'll start looking through questions. Okay. So I'm going to go through the questions that were in the Ask a Question box first. And then if there are some questions in the comments too, I'll look at that. Okay, so somebody asked, what platforms do you use for each of your products, courses, etc.? So for my course, I do my course on Teachable, and I really love Teachable. Like I said, you can absolutely use other things. There are other platforms out there, but you can also do a course through a Facebook group or something. I mean, you're just giving people content, and there are tons of ways to give people content that don't cost money. But I ended up going with Teachable just because I was really interested in getting all of the extra stuff that comes with it. Like you can just kind of keep things more organized, like with who the students are, how far along they are in the course. You can see lots of stats about your sales, and I don't know. There's just a lot of, fancy stuff that comes along with Teachable that I was excited about. It is expensive. They have different payment plan or different like tiers of how expensive it is. But yeah, that's what I like to use. And then for my shop, I use Thrivecart. And Thrivecart is expensive, but I used it because it's something that somebody recommended to me and they convinced me that it was going to be worth it. Originally, I was going to use Shopify for my online shop, And then I talked to somebody about Thrivecart, and Thrivecart's interesting because with Shopify, you paid monthly to use it, but with Thrivecart, they have a lifetime membership option, and that means you pay a lot more right away, but you just pay once and then you can use it forever. So that's why I decided to go with Thrivecart, because I thought that that would be more worth it in the long run than having to keep paying monthly with Shopify. So yeah, and Thrivecart's also really awesome because it has all of this stuff built in to help you do like upsells. I don't know if you guys, if you're not familiar with those, like if somebody goes to buy one product while they're in the checkout, you can like have it automatically suggest to add a different product or upgrade to something else. So that's also what I wanted, because whenever I do relaunch my course, then I'll be able to, if somebody goes to buy a template in my shop, then they can get a message before they check out to say, hey, why not just take my course? So that's why I really wanted to do Thrivecart as well. They just have a lot of cool things that you can do as far as making sure you generate sales, I guess. And I think that that's all that I use. Pretty much, yeah. I mean, through Thrivecart, people can pay for stuff through Stripe and PayPal. Those are the things that it integrates with. But yeah, that's all that I use. Okay, next one. If you offer a payment plan, should you limit when the content comes out so that they don't get all the content at once and run off after one payment? You can do this for sure. And that's where you would need, I mean, you could set that up yourself, but like with Teachable, the first time I did my course, I sort of did that. I said that the course was going to take 3 weeks. So there was, through Teachable, I was able to set timelines for when certain lessons would become available. And yeah, that's a great, I should have mentioned that in the slides, but yes, that's a really great idea to make sure that people don't take advantage of you somehow. I haven't had too many problems with people who are on payment plans, not pay or like information bad, but you just never know. I also know people who have had bad experiences with that. So yes, that is definitely something that you should do if you're worried about it. Okay. Somebody asked, would you mind sharing the presentation PDF? Yes, I was thinking that I could email that to everybody after this was over. So yes, I can do that. Okay, next question. When you update your digital products, do you always notify existing customers about the updates/additions? Right now, I haven't updated my templates since I launched my shop, so I haven't had to do that yet. I have updated the templates since I first opened my course. So for that, I did send all of my course students new versions of it. And that's just kind of something that's up to you. Like, you don't have to do that, of course. Like, I don't know if I'll do that with the people who've just bought the templates through my shop. Yeah. Oh, someone said if you sell on Creative Market, I think the update is automatic. Yeah, that might be with like certain platforms. But yeah, it's just kind of up to you, I guess, if you want to do it or not. I mean, it's always something that's nice to do. I think people really appreciate that. But yeah, it just kind of depends. And that if you are going to always send people updates for the newest thing, then that should affect your pricing a bit. you can charge a bit more for that because they're not just getting one thing, they're going to keep getting updates, and that is more valuable. So other thing to think about. All right. Somebody said how to find courage to be yourself and confident enough in your skills. That's really tough to answer because I feel like as far as launching my course, I mean, I started to feel more confident just because I started throwing out the idea and I got good responses. I think I said on Instagram, hey, I'm thinking about selling presentation templates. Who would like it? And I got a pretty good response. So, of course, that made me feel more confident in it. Testing the waters, doing a survey, of course, that can help you feel more confident that it's going to work. But also, I don't know. I feel like just going for it. I feel like times whenever I don't feel very confident, what's helped me the most is to just go for it and, do it and see what happens. I don't know if that's a good answer. It's really hard to give advice on how to be confident, but fake it till you make it, maybe. That's my best answer. All right. To make things easier to edit in the future, what course methods are you considering besides video, written, ebook, etc.? So I'm going through that right now, and basically I'm doing a lot more. I had quite a few lessons where I had slides, and then I also had a video of me walking through the slides, and now I'm just cutting the video out and just giving them the slides because one, I think that it takes a lot more time for people to watch the video and listen to me talk, but it's a lot easier if they just want to see the slides. They can obviously read everything that I'm saying, and then they can just skim through it, and it's not as much of a burden on them, I guess. So doing more slides, and like written stuff, I would say. And a lot of that is that idea to like trim things down and do less video is that, courses that I have taken, I have noticed where other people aren't doing videos for every single thing. And I was like, man, why didn't I think of that? This has been so annoying for me to have to record videos every time, but it's really not. It's not that much more helpful for certain types of content. The only things that I am doing videos for now in my course are things where I'm actually showing them how to do something, not just talking about something, if that makes sense. If I am showing them, how to edit the presentation templates, or I'm showing them how I save out files or something like that, then I'll do a video. Or if it's something where I'm like telling a personal story, then I might just do a video of myself. But yeah, if it's something where I'm just sharing information, then I'm probably not going to do a video anymore. Okay. Would you say Teachable is more fitting for an in-depth course than for a shorter 2-hour tutorial course? It depends. Like I said, Teachable and other platforms like it, they just have a lot of extra things that can be really useful as far as, seeing statistics and just like having a bit more control, like being able to control when people can view certain things. But if you're doing a really short course, if it's 2 hours, it might just be better to, record the videos or something, or just offer it via email or put it on a password protected page on your website. It just depends on like, if you want to pay for Teachable, then sure, it's fine. But yeah, I don't know. I hope that helps. But yeah, it's really just about the money, I would say. If you feel like paying for Teachable is making that mini course if it's taking away your profit of the mini course, having to pay for Teachable each month, then it might not be worth it for you. Okay, does Flowdesk offer a service for linking downloadable files for when they sign up to your email list by downloading a freebie? Hope that makes sense. Yes, they do, because that's how some of my freebies, I used to do freebies that way, through email, so that people would sign up. And Flowdesk, I recently switched to Flowdesk and I really like it. I used to use MailChimp, and whenever I was trying to set up a freebie through MailChimp, I was super confused about how to do it. I feel like I'm pretty tech savvy and I could not figure out how to get it to work the right way. But Flowdesk, you can do like workflows and they work very well, I think. So that's how I was doing my freebies before I put them on Thrivecart, where everything in my shop is. So yeah, in Flowdesk, you can have an email that has like a link to a PDF file, and you can create an opt-in form so that once they opt in, then it'll automatically send them the freebie via email. So yeah, you can absolutely do that. Somebody said Flowdesk is so pretty, but lacks a few features for me, but they are growing. Yeah, they're getting there, but I do really like them. I think that for me, MailChimp was more like corporate, and Flowdesk feels so much more catered to small businesses, and that's what I really like about it. Someone asked, is it okay if you share with us the cost estimation for your course? I wish that I could give you the exact number off the top of my head, but I don't even remember the exact number from last time, honestly. I feel like the pay in full was somewhere between $400 and $500, but I'm not 100% on that. And I don't know if, like I said, I'm still working on it and I'm adding more things to it. So I don't know if the pricing will be exactly the same, but around $400, $500 is what I'll say for now. And yeah, I'll be sharing more about my course in the next few weeks. I'm hoping to have it open sometime next month. So yeah, it's been a work in progress, but I'm getting there. Okay, I just sort of answered that. Okay, could you give examples of digital products, templates, kind of downloadable stuff that you sell? So right now I sell presentation templates for designers. So there are 6 total, and they're just kind of for each step of the design process. So there's one for project proposals, pitching yourself to clients, one for presenting creative direction and mood boards at the beginning of a branding project, presenting logos, a brand style guide, stuff like that. There's just kind of one for each stage of my branding and web design process. But yeah, so that's what I offer, and they're InDesign templates so that designers can take them and make them their own. But yeah, I didn't want this to turn into me selling my templates, but yeah, I mean, they're just kind of made to help people have a more streamlined way of presenting stuff to clients, that they have this template that they can just plug everything in. There's like prompts so that they can easily explain their work to the client. There are feedback questions to ask the client, stuff like that. So those are the digital products that I sell. Somebody asked, what does your course consist of, please? What do you teach? So my course is sort of a more in-depth version of what's in my shop. So my shop is all the presentation templates, but in my course, the presentation templates are included in the course, but it just goes a lot more in depth. And I really try to share everything that I've learned about working with clients and just kind of show you all of my process, I guess, and like give you tips on pricing and just kind of how to work with clients in general. It's not really teaching design stuff, if that makes sense. Like, I'm not trying to teach how to create a great logo or something. I'm more teaching how to present your work really well to clients, because that's something that I realized nobody ever taught me. I went to college for design, and they teach you, all the design stuff, how to make a good logo and how to choose fonts and colors and all that. But nobody teaches you how to present stuff to clients in a way that they'll understand, in a way that will make them value your work and see you as the expert. And just all of the things that you need to do while working with a client to make the project go smoothly. Make sure you get constructive feedback and all of that sort of stuff. So that's what the course is about. It's really about how to work well with clients and just use certain strategies to make projects go more smoothly for you and the client as well. Sorry, I'm going to wrap things up soon because it's been an hour. I'll try to answer 2 more questions. All right. One person said, I struggle to find how to provide templates to non-designers who might not have the softwares necessary to edit them. Do you have advice on this? Yeah, this is something that I have thought about as well. Now I only provide stuff that's for designers, but in the past, whenever I have thought about how to provide, if I was going to sell something to non-designers, what would I use? And the only thing that I can really recommend, I think, is maybe Canva. That's usually what I use whenever I'm working with a client who doesn't use Photoshop or anything like that. I usually use Canva if I'm going to make something that's editable for them. And I feel like Canva is pretty easy for most people to use. And it's free. They can use a free version. So that's probably the best bet. I know that in the past, for my course, I actually had one person suggest if I made the templates made them in Keynote, I think. So maybe that's something else that you can do. But yeah, I would say Canva is the best thing. Oh, Rebecca said Adobe XD is easy to for clients to use and it's free. Yes, I've actually thought about switching from making clients use Canva to using Adobe XD because I do really like it and think it's really easy. So that's something else. And yeah, it's free. So that's another thing that you can do. Okay, this is just going to be the last question I answer since we've hit an hour. So any mic recommendations for people starting out on creating courses? Well, the one that I use is right here, and it's like a random mic. I think it's actually for like video gamers. I just got it while we were here in Portugal at like a tech store. But I know that Yeti, YETI, is a very popular mic brand. They're pretty expensive, but like I feel like that's the go-to for a lot of people who do podcasts or like record audio for things. But you know what? The first time that I did my course, I just used my headphones. And I mean, it's not the best sound, but like it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. It works. Just use whatever works first. And then, down the road, if you want to buy the fancy Yeti mic, then do it. But I don't know. I don't think that you have to, while someone says that they have a Yeti and that it's great, Yeah, I actually wanted to buy a Yeti, but they're kind of big. And since we travel, I didn't want to put it in my suitcase. I just saw someone share about a mic that was like really tiny. It's like a travel sized mic, and they said it was really good. And I think it was on Amazon, but I don't remember the name of it. But I've been wanting to buy it because I don't think I'm going to be putting this in my suitcase. But yeah, I mean, Yetis are what I see most people using. So maybe just go for the Yeti. Okay. So that's all I have time for, but thank you guys so much for sticking around. And I hope that this was helpful for everyone. I don't know. There's so much that I could say about selling stuff and courses and everything. So if you have other questions and you want to shoot me an email or shoot me a message or something, I'm happy to answer it. And since somebody asked for the slides, the PDF slides, I can send that out to everybody who signed up for this, send it out to them. And I think I might actually, with Crowdcast, you can embed the webinar in like a blog post and stuff. So I might also just put this in a blog post maybe next week. So yeah, but you'll be able to see the slides somehow. Just look out for it in your email. All right. So thank you so much, guys, and have a great rest of your day.